Hello, I am Susie Redmond Moore. I'm the broker at Redmond Realty and Consulting, located in Temple Hills, Maryland. I am licensed in the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia. My company is what I call, and when I give you the size of it, you're going to call it also a small company. We are 12 strong so that we don't get so big that we jeopardize giving our attention to our clients and customers. It's as simple as that. I started in this business under the banner of Century 21 Ashby and Associates on Pennsylvania Avenue in Southeast Washington, D.C. I left there in, I believe it was 2001, and opened my company, and we have been thriving ever since. Just giving you a little bit of history about myself so that you understand that I'm qualified, more than qualified, to help you buy your home. I've got 28 years plus or minus in this business, and I have served as a listing broker for sellers and mostly a buyer's broker representing buyers in the District of Columbia and the state of Maryland. I have been licensed as a broker for 26 of those 28 years, and I have trained probably over 100 other agents on how to practice real estate. I attended the Capstone Institute of Mortgage Finance in order to become certified as a loan processor, and I was a licensed loan originator or loan officer for several years. I did those licensures and certifications in order to qualify me to help you. So I now want to congratulate you on your decision to buy a home. Being a first-time buyer can be daunting. There's a lot of information that you already know, but there's probably much more that you don't know. And you need to know what you're getting into. But even more importantly than that, you really need to understand what it is you're doing. You're going to be signing documents that you will not have time to read. And you need to be able to trust the person who is helping you and believe what they are telling you these documents represent. This program, this training session, usually runs anywhere between 2 and 4 hours, but I'm going to do my best to redact it down into the allotted time frame to give you a general idea of what you need to know to get started so that you will not be injured in the process. Just keep in mind that the most important thing, in my opinion, is that you do not sign anything that you do not understand. So I'm going to try and limit my use of that phrase, do not, because it's negative. We want to be sure that you are ready to make your purchase when the time comes. So let's get started. What is the first step that you should take when you decide that you want to buy a home? Okay, I can't hear you. So whoever said, find out what's on my credit report, you get an A+, because that is the very first step. Many of us have common names, Mary Jones. My birth name is Mary Sue. There's so many Mary Sues in the phone book until I go by my nickname. And I paid the state of Maryland $5 in order for me to be able to legally use Susie in my real estate practice. So all of my business cards contain Susie Redmond Moore. So I haven't seen another Susie Redmond Moore out there in the world, but I've seen many Mary Moores. And because of that, and the fact that there is so much fraud, identity theft going on, you really need to keep a close eye on your credit history, your credit profile. You are allowed to get one free credit report per year, and you do that by using myfreecreditreport.com. You go online, you see what's going on, and if there's something that you are not responsible for, you write a letter to the credit bureaus, identify that fraudulent activity, put a flag on your credit profile, and work with the credit bureaus to have the negative information removed. And then what most people forget to do, or they simply don't know they need to do this, is request that the credit bureaus rescore your profile, issue you a new score. Okay? So, first step is find out what's on your credit report. Once you have a credit score that is at or above 680, then that is considered the threshold for qualifying for a mortgage. That's where you want to be. The thing about the credit score is the higher the score, the more money you're able to borrow, and do so at a lower interest rate. If your credit score is 720 or higher, then that's good credit. It's right at the doorway of excellence. So I believe your credit score can go as high as 850 now. And the higher your credit score, the lower the interest rate. The lower the interest rate, the more money you can borrow. Got that? Okay. At the end of this session, I'm going to give you my name again and my telephone number, and just open things up so that you may reach out to me or one of the agents at my company to get all the help in the world that you need. Or at least we'll be able to point you in the right direction if it's something that we do not manage ourselves. So, you know your credit score is 680 or higher, and then you apply for the loan. Well, how do you make application for a mortgage? There is, in the marketplace, a difference of opinion as to where you should borrow money for your purchase. Many of you belong to credit unions. That's excellent. Many of you have bank accounts at major institutions whose names I'm not allowed to use in this session, but you've got a bank account, so you want to apply at your bank because you have a good long-standing relationship with the bank. There's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I recommend getting with a trusted loan officer, a mortgage broker, because the mortgage broker is in a position to look at your profile and match you with a lender that will tailor a loan surrounding your circumstances. Having said that, I can get with you after the training session and make some recommendations based on my relationship with loan officers with whom I have worked over the years, and they can help get you started. But in order to apply for the loan, whether you use a mortgage broker, your bank, or your credit union, you still need to be able to provide 1 month's worth of bank statements, 1 month's worth of pay stubs, and then 2 years worth of W-2s. I think I need to go back and make a correction because I heard myself say 1 month's worth of bank statements. That is a mistake on my part. You need 3 months bank statements, 1 month's pay stubs, okay? And then 2 years W-2s. And down the road, you are going to need all of the pages of your income tax filing. Okay? So just be prepared to produce those documents. During your credit review, you might have seen something on your credit report that required you to write a letter to explain why that item is there. If you have a blemish on your credit report, many times you're able to give a copy of the letter to the loan officer, the person who is taking your application, and so just be prepared to produce that document as well. In fact, you may get a checklist of items from the loan processor. You remember a few moments ago I told you that I'm a certified loan processor. So we give out checklists for people to use as a guide to gather documentation to qualify for the loan. Okay? Once you turn in the documentations, it goes through a process. The end person is called an underwriter. The underwriter is responsible for making sure that your loan documentation is in order and that the application supports local, which is state, and federal lending guidelines. And sometimes the bank or the credit union might have a special program for first-time buyers, and you would need to qualify for whatever their guidelines are. Right now is a good time to buy a home because there are some first-time buyer programs that will give you money for your down payment, for your closing costs, and we'll talk about closing costs in a moment. But they will give you a hefty amount of money to assist you with your purchase because you are a first-time buyer. So isn't that good news? Flossie Lancaster has agreed to prepare a video for use in this training session so that she can shed a brighter light on the loan process. She's qualified to do that because she is a tenured loan officer. So you'll be able to take a look at her video and make all the notes you need, and I'm pretty sure she will provide her contact information as well. So you've made your decision to buy, you found out what's on your credit report, and now you've applied for the loan. If your credit is excellent and you don't have any issues, then you go straight from the loan officer with a letter that says, hello, real estate agent, this person is ready to go and buy a home. And because I can count in ones, let's say this person is qualified to buy a $100,000 home, and this person's interest rate is going to be 2.3%. That's excellent, because now you're responsible to find the real estate agent whom you can trust to help you buy a home that costs no more than the letter says you are qualified to borrow. This is where many first-time buyers get in trouble. They connect with the real estate agent who is referred to them by somebody else whom they trust. They trust the person making the referral, but that person does not necessarily know that the real estate agent will sell you a home. Well, how does a real estate agent sell you a home? Isn't that what they're supposed to do? In my opinion, no. A real estate agent is supposed to help you find the home that you want to buy and then help you purchase it. There's a difference between me helping you purchase what you select and my selling you what I think your circumstances dictate. For instance, I just happen to know that the loan officer qualified you for a $100,000 loan, which is excellent because the imaginary market that I'm talking about dictates that $100,000 purchase is a beautiful 6-bedroom home with 5.5 bathrooms sitting high on a hill and in the best neighborhood imaginable. So this is our imaginary scenario, okay? Well, if I'm going to sell you a home, I happen to know that yes, you can pay more than $100,000. Come on. And you don't really need, what did I say, 6 bedrooms? No, here's a 3-bedroom home with 4 bathrooms, but the hill is not as high so that when it snows, you won't have as much trouble getting in and out of your property. So I've got all these things going on in my head, and at the end of the day, you're going to be spending $150,000, but your mortgage will only go up, $47.12 a month. So that's not much money, right? So I'm not even going to show you houses in the $100,000 range. I'm going to explain to you, because you're a first-time buyer and you don't know. But I'm going to explain to you why it's better for you to spend $150,000 and get a better house on a better hill than what you think you want. That's selling you a house. That's not my job. And I would be wrong to do that to you. My job is to help you find a home inside your purchase power and then help you get that home under the best terms possible. That means if the owner is asking for $100,000 for their home, my job as your agent is to see if I can get that owner to sell you that same house for $85,000. I would be wrong if I did not try, unless I can show to you the evidence, written evidence, that this property is priced in the best light when it comes on the market. Okay, we understand that. First scenario, I sold you a house and I made more money. In the second scenario, I helped you find the house that you want to buy because you have to live there. And then, after I helped you find it, I helped you buy the home under the best circumstances. Okay? If there was a way for me to find out if you need me to slow down, I would do it. So I am moving a little bit slowly in certain places, hopefully giving you time to make good notes. But don't worry, you'll be able to call and get some clarification later. So what about the veterans? I love veterans. So if you are a veteran of the United States Armed Forces, you can buy a home with no money down, and the seller of the property is allowed by federal and state statute to pay all of your closing costs for you. That's awesome. If you are a qualified dependent of a veteran who qualifies for that particular homeowner VA benefit, then you can enjoy those services. So make sure that whichever loan officer you speak with, you ask the question about the benefits of buying under the VA loan program, okay? Suppose you have a Section 8 voucher, and these are things that Flossie Lancaster will touch upon, but neither of us will have time to delve into in great detail. So go online and look up these things for yourselves as well. But suppose you have a Section 8 voucher and you want to buy a home because you also have a job. Yes, there's a program under the housing department that allows you to use the money from the Section 8 voucher program or other programs, depends on what you're a member of, to help you buy your home. So make sure you inquire about that. And then if you know somebody who receives those benefits, let them know, because home ownership is the ultimate way for you to gain wealth. You will not meet a rich person who does not own real estate. I promise you. So, the step that you're taking today is the first step to your home ownership and the beginning of your wealth. Will buy the home that you're looking to buy now, and when you get ready to move into a larger home or even just a different home, even a smaller home, call me back. I pray that I'm still around, because I'm going to remind you, hey, don't sell your first home. Keep it. That's the beginning of your wealth and a part of your real estate portfolio. And I will show you how to become an investor. So hang on to the home that you buy as a result of today's class. We've gone over how you apply for credit, what you're looking for in a loan officer, and the basics of what you're looking for in a realtor. It's best to get somebody who is referred to you in either instance, but a lot of times you just don't know. So do your own research so that you can avoid most of the pitfalls that first-time buyers incur. Now, you've gone out looking for homes, you selected a home. The hard part is reading the contract of sale, because it's boring to you if you've never read it before and if you've never been exposed to it before. There's a lot of legalese in there. That's where your real estate agent is really, really responsible for making sure you understand what's in that contract. Your sales contract contains the promises of the seller and your promises. You promise to pay $100,000 for this seller's home, and the seller promises to sell you this home for $100,000. But what about property condition? What's the condition of the property beyond what you can see when you walk into the home? When you are out looking at houses, make sure you walk in the front door and start assessing. In fact, start your assessment from the curb. When you get out of the car, start looking. Look up. There's the roof. Look down. There are the shrubberies and the plants and the rocks and the topography, whether there's a hill or whether the lot is flat. Those are important things to pay attention to. If the house is sitting on a hill, in a big rainstorm, the water is going to hit the ground and roll away from the property's foundation. That's what you want to see. If the house is flat on the ground, there's no hill at all, where is the water going? Are there proper downspouts on the roofing system? Do those downspouts have extensions that carry the water away from the foundation nearest the house? Those are things you want to look for. I will never tell you not to buy a house that is sitting on level ground, because as long as the steps have been taken to remove water from the foundation of the home, the property is going to be just fine, and you don't have to worry about water coming inside. So you go in the front door, you look straight ahead, you look up, you look down, to your left and to your right. Don't worry about what's inside the house. If the house is not vacant, you're going to bump into furniture and toys and whatnot. But you're paying attention. Are there cracks in the ceiling? Are there cracks in the wall, the drywall? Are the windows okay? Do you feel wind coming in through the windows? Is there water or moisture between the glass in the window panes? Between the glass panes in the window. Okay, I straightened that out. As you walk through, do you hear creaks or squeaking in the flooring? Are the doors properly seated in the frames? All of those things can be considered structural issues. Structural issues are not necessarily things that will cause you to run away from the house, but they certainly should be questioned. So, you are not going to be able to speak with the seller directly in most instances. That is why your realtor is responsible to make sure that you receive a copy of the disclosure that the seller is duty bound, required to provide to you, that discloses the property's condition. So if there's something wrong, the seller must disclose it to you. But then, the most important thing you can do in this process and up to this point is to make sure you pay for a home inspection. Get a reputable home inspection contractor to go into the house and examine it, looking for defects. The issue there could become not every defect will appear on a home inspector's report because they might not be able to see it. If there is a problem with a property that is not readily exposed and available for you to see it upon entry of the home, the seller must disclose that defect. It is called a latent defect. Latent. Latent defect. Those defects don't show up in my world until after I have helped my buyer purchase the home. My buyer has moved in. It's 3 months later, and then there's a hard rain and the basement floods. Well, it had not rained when we walked through the home. It had not rained when the home inspector inspected the home. So there was no reasonable expectation that we would know that every time there's a hard rain, the basement floods in the southwest corner. The seller knew, and the seller should have exposed that. Many, many, many times, the disclosure is not made. And now you have to file a claim against your insurance. It can be harrowing, really. So it's my job and the job of your realtor whom you select to make sure that every measure is taken to protect you from that scenario. Okay? Latent defect. Make sure you remember that when you're out looking at homes, and especially when you select the one that you purchase. Okay? So, you've examined a home, you fall in love with it, you write the contract, you write the offer. There's a difference between writing your offer and the actual contract. So the offer is what you use to negotiate the final deal between you and the seller. Once you have what's called a meeting of the minds, then you go into ratification status, which means your contract, your offer becomes a contract. Your contract requires the seller to take that house off the market, and then you call for your home inspection. Make sure that you also have a termite inspection. Home inspection, termite inspection. Termites are everywhere, depending on where you live now. If I were a betting woman, which I'm not, I would bet you either have termites now, you will get termites in the future, or there used to be termites where you live. They are a part of nature. They live in the ground. They funnel or tunnel looking for food, and the wood in your house is what they like to eat. So yeah, they're everywhere. If you see a property that has termites, please don't panic. Many buyers have not bought the perfect home for them because somebody said the house had termites. My house has been treated for termites twice, and we're still here. Had to do some repair work around a window frame, but we are still here, and the house is still standing, and all I do is keep it under contract for re-inspection, and if they should come back, I'm just going to have it treated again. Termites are part of nature. Now, am I telling you don't worry? Yeah, I am. Don't worry. But am I telling you to be cautious and proactive? Yes, I am. If you have termites, treat for termites, fix the damage, and go on enjoying your home. Okay? Just make sure you have that inspection. Many lenders will require that you have a termite inspection even if you don't have a home inspection. Your real estate agent is supposed to make sure that the house is in good condition, or as good condition as it can become, before you go to closing and get the keys and become the new owner. One thing about buying a home that I want to make sure I share with you today is that you are going to pledge this property as collateral against the loan. Your lender is going to have a lot of documents. Many times I hope you can see that, the loan package is 60 or 70 pages thick. Part of the documentation contains language pledging the property as security, collateral for the loan. And the lender is going to require you to keep the home in good repair. Being a first-time buyer, you're used to calling the landlord when something breaks. You're going to have to be careful that you develop the habit of making repairs. Time changes twice a year. Those are good times to walk through and look for defects or issues with the home that need repair. Whatever you find, go ahead and take care of it. Sometimes they're big ticket items and you have to budget for it. But all of that is covered in my full-fledged training seminar, and I'm going to invite you to attend in the future. Or just call and we will have someone, either I or one of the agents will be able to hold your hand in the future. We don't let you go once we help you buy your home. So just remember that. As long as we are there, you can always reach us, okay? Meaning some of the agents have been brave enough to retire from the business, but I don't think I'll ever retire. So as long as I'm able, I will help you to remember the things that you need to know. So we've gone through quite a bit, and I'm flipping through the book to make sure that I have not omitted anything that's earth-shattering. And so far, I think we're okay. the house is in good condition, you've written your contract, everything is moving along. The one other inspection that you need to look forward to is the appraisal. The appraisal is different than the home inspection, although the appraiser does pay attention to property condition. The home must be in good repair in order for the lender to issue the loan for you to purchase the home. Does that make sense? The lender is not going to lend you money to buy a house that's just not ready for you to move into. The property must be habitable and in good condition in order for you to get your loan. So the appraiser is going to come in and make an educated determination as to whether the house meets its lenders and the federal government's guidelines. Every now and then, a buyer will offer a seller the amount the seller is requesting as the purchase price. So in our scenario, you have offered $100,000 for this home. You've had your home inspection. The two things that needed to be repaired, your agent made a written request by way of contract addendum to ask the seller to make the repairs. The seller agreed. You went back with your home inspector to make sure the work was done correctly and by a licensed contractor. That's important too. And now the appraiser comes to help finish the loan process by establishing the value of the property. You've offered $100,000, the seller accepted $100,000, and then the appraiser comes in and says, well, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Home Buyer, but this property is worth $94,000. Your lender then is not going to lend you $100,000 because the appraiser just said that the property is worth $94,000. There's a $6,000 difference. Now your realtor is going to have to contact the seller's agent, provide a copy of the pertinent pages of the appraisal, and by written request, ask the seller to reduce the price of the home. Many times, the contract dies at this point, simply because the seller demands $100,000 because in that seller's head, their home is worth every bit of $110,000. They're just selling it for $100,000 in order to make it move quickly. Sometimes your contract will die, or in a bad situation, your realtor will suggest, well, you've got an uncle who has a lot of money. Why don't you get $6,000 from your uncle to give to the seller and let's go to closing? That's a bad way to do it. Do your best not to pay more for a property than the appraiser determines the home is worth. You'll go into it upside down, negative equity. You don't want to do that. So just stay on the right track with the property value compared with the amount that you are attempting to pay for the property. So the big ticket items have been accomplished. You've got your home inspection. The house is in good condition. The appraised value has come in at $100,000. And in an excellent scenario, the appraised value is more than your contract price. That is a good situation because you will buy your home and have instant equity in it, which means that you bought your home under excellent circumstances and you've done your homework you made a good decision based on what you learned about how to make an offer on a purchase, because there is a right way and a not right way to accomplish buying your home. And after you have been through the process of getting the appraisal done, do you go straight to settlement from there or closing? The answer is no, because there's a lot of paperwork involved. Once the appraisal is done, it goes back to the loan officer, and then the loan officer has to process your file for funding. Once your loan is ready to be funded, meaning you're fully approved, there are no contingencies, you have not co-signed for your daughter or your son or your favorite niece or nephew to buy a car while you are in the process of buying your home. You've not touched your credit except to pay your monthly bills. You've not started shopping. Oh my, please do not shop for new furniture or things until after you get the keys. After closing, within reason, go shopping. But from the time you start to look for a home, once you've made the decision to buy a home, as a matter of fact, please leave your credit alone unless you are paying down debt. No new debt. Don't co-sign for anybody. Don't go buy a new car when your car breaks down without having a conversation with your loan officer. Don't miss a lot of work. Just live your life the way you've been living it up until you've made this decision. When you sit down with your loan officer, he or she will give you more pointers in order to keep you in the best position to finalize the process. So, while you wait for the paperwork portion to be done by your loan officer, your title company that you will have selected by now will be doing work on your behalf as well. The title company is not like the loan officer who works for you, and your realtor who works for you, and the appraiser whom you pay and therefore, in a sense, works for you. The title company represents the transaction. They don't represent the seller nor the buyer, but the title company is responsible to make sure that the home you are purchasing does not have a claim to it by somebody else. The title to the property must be clean, must be clear, must be untainted. A tainted or dirty title cannot transfer. So that work needs to be done in the background as well. There might be an additional 15 days between the time that your appraisal comes in and the time you are able to schedule your closing. So, as of today, please start making up your mind to be patient when you need to be patient, but make demands when it's time for you to make demands. Meaning, there are certain things that have time restraints. In the state of Maryland, automatically, time is of the essence. And so, because of that, your realtor is responsible to make sure that every deadline in the contract is met timely. If you are scheduled to have your home inspection within 5 days of the date that you ratify your contract, and your job won't let you take 3 hours off work to go do your home inspection, make sure that an addendum is written to request the additional time so that the time does not elapse and you have not completed your task. Does that make sense? Make sure that if your timeline is in jeopardy, a written request or written notification is made so that a written agreement to extend or change the time is in place. Make sure that that is done. So, all the work is done. You get a phone call from your agent telling you that the loan officer and the title company have finished all they need to do, and your loan is fundable. That means it's okay to schedule your closing. 9.9 times out of 10, your loan officer is the one who contacts you directly to let you know that your loan is ready. You are fully approved, and you have another letter from the lender. That letter is the one that gives you the green light to do your hallelujah dance, because that is your letter of commitment to lend, the commitment to fund your loan. And now you may schedule your date and time to sign the documents to become a homeowner for the first time. So you're scheduled, you go to closing, and you got your truck ready and it's all loaded with your personal items, and you walk into the closing room prayerfully. You'll be able to walk in and you won't have to do it on the parking lot like we have to do during the pandemic. But you'll be able to sit down and sign your papers. You will have been prepared. Your hands will be rested. Your anxiety will be low. Your excitement will be high. And you will sign a ton of documents. One of those documents is that document I described earlier, where you pledge your property as collateral and you make the agreement to keep your property in good repair for as long as you own this property. In rare instances, the lender will send out an inspector. Rare instances, but it has happened on my watch. The lender learned that the home was in good repair and a letter was generated. If the lender had learned that the home was not in good repair, the lender could have called in the loan. They could have demanded that you pay off that loan immediately, in most instances, which you will not be able to do. So we have to keep that in mind. Keep the house in good repair and all will go well. So you sit down at the settlement table, you sign documents for about an hour, and then your agent hands you the keys and you are a homeowner. So congratulations. Welcome to the world of home ownership. It's a major responsibility, but it is one of the happiest that you will make in your lifetime. So just stay well, be aware, read before you sign, understand what you're doing before you finalize that thing, and stay in contact with me. I am Susie Redmond Moore, broker, Redmond Realty and Consulting, LLC. That means I am a consultant, and you can call me anytime. My cell phone number is 301-802-2963. But my office number is 301-449-7979. May God bless you, and may you enjoy your first home. Thank you.